Three times. Four times. Doing gang things. Living super clean. That done came up. Can't control us. One time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my foe that done came up. 4 times cause the man can't control us. One time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my foe that done came up. 4 times cause the man can't control us. Look at you done came up now. Get it how you live, mess the game up now. Ain't messing with yoga, but get the flame up. Hey, used to be Toby, but got your name back now. I see ya, paid under pressure. 25 lighters got them all on the trestle. If it ain't for you, ain't for you then. If you a lame or a sucker, wanna dress you then. Grown up now, bump the childish ways. Got a wife and a bunch of kids to raise. Punch a clock side hustle or a business you endure to ensure that all the bills is paid. Slow clap for your homeboy. Could've turned out like your homeboy. Been on the same block, cooking up the same rock on the cell block lot with your homeboy. But no, you had vision, you had goal. Brand new you on the old time road. Take care of home where you bust your low. Black men don't teach, screaming bumpy hoe. Real men talk, real king ways. Still in captivity, but minds ain't slave. Got a little wisdom, boy, you PD grade. Giving out the knowledge on the stoop these days. One time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my foe that done came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. 1 time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my foe that done came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. 1 time for the folk that have moved up. Even if you had a slow start screwed up. Used to gang bang, now homie brewed up. Had a little plan, I had them blew up. Look at you like a man right now. Dressed to the T, smelling like a grand right now. And you ain't got nothing from a handout now. Just faith and hard work, guess it planned out now. You could've took a bunch of dusty rolls. The hand dealt with a bunch of cards to fold. To stay hot while the world is freezing cold. The same plot, but the story's never old. Slow clap for your kinfolk. Could've been asking what your info. Prosecutor could be trying to do you in for the 2020 twins, so you passing out the info. But no, you had purpose, you had plans. I ain't doing nothing, I'ma say these bands won't impress y'all, don't need no fans. That ain't my God, who is that, man? This real men talk, real king ways. Still in captivity, but minds ain't slave. Got a little wisdom, boy, you peep these grades. Giving out the knowledge on the stoop these days. 1 time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my foe that came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. 1 time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my foe that came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. Yeah, real man. Sheesh. Yeah. Doing gang things. Mono. Living super clean.
Shalom and shalom, sisters and cousins, and praise the Lord, saints. It's your favorite housewife, Miss Mono. I'm so sorry. Here we go. Can you hear me now? Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Sorry about that, you guys. Okay, there we go. I hear myself, so I know I'm good now. All righty. So a few things I wanted to talk to y'all about. Shalom, Yanika. First of all, let me shout out my folks up in here. Yanika, Angelina, Shalom, and Shalom. Thank y'all so much for joining me this evening. Did y'all come to Bible study this morning? Where you guys at Bible study? It was at 9 o'clock right here on this same YouTube channel at Monologue McGad. It was a great Bible study this morning. It was very edifying. I definitely got something from it, and I hope you did too. If not, please go back and watch the replay. Shalom, Yamaya. Thank you for joining me. Yeah, I mean, it was very edifying. So if you didn't get to enjoy it this morning, please go back and watch the replay. There is a gem in there for you, I promise. And also, while we're talking about Bible study this morning, I have to shout out the hardest working, most sexiest, most wonderful husband in Israel, Monologue with Dad. Please go and stream Let the OG Talk if you have not already. Stream that on all of your streaming platforms. Okay, Angelina, yes, Bible study was fire. Or excuse me. See, I say fire. My husband always laughs at me because apparently that's not the way you're supposed to say it. But y'all know me. If you don't know me, I am Miss Mono. You can follow me on all of your socials at Miss Mono's World. Help me out here. Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. If you are not following me, then that means that you did not meet the girls today. What girls am I talking about? I'm talking about the Golden Girls. I'm talking about the hens here at the House of Mono Farm. I did a little intro content for them today so y'all can get to know them, so you can meet the girls. I think it's like the latest video on my TikTok, so go ahead and check that out. Let's see what else. Okay, a few more like announcement, housekeeping things. Don't forget to follow Spirit-Filled Israel on all of your social media platforms. Shout out to my audience on the Science TV. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Listen, keep the TV on, right? And then go to the YouTube on your phone so you can still participate in the conversation. I didn't even push the live button on IG. I'm tripping. Okay. So go to the YouTube, or you can, go to the YouTube so you can participate in the conversation as well. Thank you so much for being here, all of you, on this evening. So a few things I wanted to talk about today. The first, our main topic is, are you an Eve or are you an Esther? Okay. We're going to contrast these two women and just use them as like a mirror to reflect on ourselves and our behavior. Shalom, Jack Hudson, 1827 on the IG. Thank you for joining me. Head over to the YouTube at Monologue Magad, MONOLOGMAGAD, to be a part of the conversation. What's up to everybody? What's up to you wherever you are? Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. Okay. Yes, Eve or Esther. So I was gonna say Vashti or Esther, but everybody don't know what about Vashti like that. But we all know Eve, right? Okay, so we're gonna talk about later on today. Are you an Eve or are you an Esther? We're gonna use this as like a mirror, a little self-examination exercise we're going to do today. Okay. But first, let's talk about this little piece of news that came out of Texas. I'm going to play the clip here. Before I play this clip, though, fair use. Please, someone put fair use in the chat. I am just using this to report a news story. Okay, so I'm going to let y'all watch this video. We're probably not going to watch the whole thing because it's kind of long, but here.
Is standing by its high school's decision to take down a Facebook post that congratulated its new homecoming king and queen.
And this comes after a slew of hateful comments against the homecoming king for his feminine appearance. And that prompted a social media movement in support of the student.
Only on 13 Race and Culture reporter Rosie Wen spoke to the student and has the story tonight from Angleton.
Winning homecoming king was a big deal for Eddie Wilson, especially because experience hasn't always been the easiest. However, he feels like this accomplishment has been completely overshadowed by the news about his appearance.
Why are adults so concerned in a student? And why do so many adults that don't know me from a can of paint have such a strong, hateful opinion about me?
Eddie Wilson is a senior and the varsity cheer captain at Angleton High School. He tells us he absolutely loves to make up, dress up, and get his hair done. But because society deems that as feminine presenting, he says he's faced all sorts of harassment throughout his life.
Honestly, it bothered me, but it's just like, it's so childish that it's like, are you kidding me?
That's why it meant so much to Wilson.
Okay, so y'all get the point. Like, I'm not gonna play the whole video. Okay, you get the point. This boy was elected homecoming king at his school, and people were upset about it because while he is a boy, he does not present as a boy. And that's what homecoming king usually is for, a boy. You have the homecoming queen as a girl, the homecoming king is a boy. It's been like this since the beginning of homecoming court. Okay. But here's a concept that I need us all to get familiar with, double speak or new speak. And it's where they take traditionally and scientifically understood things such as being a male and try to twist it into something else. Any other time in our history, if you see a male presenting with feminine features, something is wrong with this. And for him, and I'm sure his parents are supporting him or whatever, to try to justify it, to not understand why people are up in arms about this. To me, it just shows the total lack of just basic morality that we used to have. Or maybe I just assumed, I was talking to another mom about this yesterday, matter of fact. Maybe I just assumed because I grew up in church and just had a baseline of behavior that everyone else does too. And so maybe the eradication or the taking away of that baseline morality is only a surprise to to me and people who think like me. Um but the fact that they let him be homecoming king, okay, honestly, I feel like he should have just been happy with that because you don't want to look like a man, you don't want to be a man, then why are you holding a man's position? It's confusion. It's all confusion, okay? It's all confusion. And so he's upset because the school took down the post where they announced him as homecoming king because of the comments. He's like, "Oh, leave the post up." If you watch the video, he's like, "Leave the post up. Let's see who said this and why they had to say this." And listen, this is why I homeschool. This is why I homeschool because I do not want to have to combat my child being constantly told that wrong is right and evil is good. And that's exactly what they're doing, even in the school. They're reinforcing this behavior. So listen, that's why I homeschool. If you have the ability, please do because they are just making a mess of our children these days. Okay. So I'm gonna pull up this next clip and I'm not gonna show the whole video, but this is a conversation that you all probably seen this week with Brittany Renner and what's this man's name? Shannon Sharp. This is about her 35 bodies conversation. So I'm going to play this clip and then we're going to come back and talk about it. And I want y'all to be thinking like, is 35 bodies too much? And if 35 bodies is too much, are we applying the same standard to men and women? If we are, why or why not? So let's just listen to what to say and then we'll talk about it.
That if they're wanting of that, and it seems to me as I sit here and talk to you that you are someone very passionate about finding love. And I think the thing is that that person knows who you are. They know some of the things that you've done. So that person that wants to be with Brittany Renner, they're gonna know what she's done and be okay with that. Yeah. Do you think it's hard for that? Is it hard for an athlete? Because athletes are very prideful, and they and don't take this the wrong way, but they kind of like, that's mine. And to know that that package has been unwrapped by somebody else on multiple occasions, it doesn't sit well with. I'm gonna keep it one. You say keep it 100. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you.
But then you have to go back to when there was the Derek Jeter diamond. That's what my track record's like. But Derek Jeter gets a segment on ESPN where they have his dating history in the. Let me finish though.
No, I ain't saying nothing.
You was thinking it. You were thinking it.
I'll get some water because I'm sweating.
Because my dating pool is mean, my
Expansive?
God. Impressive. Expansive. I've had sex with 35 guys. Okay?
Whew.
Okay. So there it is. And she just, announced it with no qualms that she's had sex with 35 men. Now, just off that, and let me say this, okay? I have found that when older women tend to speak to younger women, unfortunately, they do not come from a place of the Bible as a standard. What we like to do sometimes is to use our life as a standard. And because we don't want to condemn ourselves or our actions, we will never say, oh no, that's too many bodies if we feel like we've had a similar or higher body count, right? Instead of us being honest with the young ladies coming up behind us and saying like, yes, 35 bodies is too many. That is way too many bodies. Instead of us being truthful and honest in that, because we don't want to be embarrassed, we don't want to feel judged, we'll lie and say, oh, well, if men can do it, women can do it too. Case in point, her bringing up Derek Jeter and his, whatever she called it, baseball diamond and his track record and stuff like that. Okay. And again, we talk about this on this show all the time. The double standard does not exist because men and women are not the same. You had 35 men enter you. Derek Jeter entered 30. You understand what I'm saying? There's like, I don't understand why we keep disputing the difference. It's like the pen and the paper. Okay. Once this pen writes on this paper, that's it. It's not coming off. But I can take this pen and go to any paper I want, and you'll never know about the other pieces of paper. But so we don't want to be honest with our young women and say like, hey, yes, I know that they teach you that your vagina is a magical elastic muscle and it's always going to go back to its original form. But let's be honest, not if you keep abusing it. Not if you keep abusing it. But again, no one wants to have this conversation. Also, you are talking to when you're comparing men and women, okay? Unfortunately, women we like to compare ourselves to men as if it is also our job to provide like a man. What am I saying by this? You know how your parents used to tell you, oh, you got to pay the cost to be the boss? Once you start paying some of these bills around here, then you can start having your way. I know nobody likes, I'm not supposed to say that. But that's kind of the principle that's at hand here. And I'm saying that because she also just sat there and talked about how expansive and impressive her dating pool is to let you know, like, hey, I'm not messing around with any bums or anything. And so with that being the prevailing thought, right? And I mean, let's be real, no woman is out here saying like, yes, I like to lay up with losers. No one is claiming that. At least I hope you're not. Well, at least I hope you're not. But so with that being the case, right? When your approach to men is, if you want to be with me, you're going to provide for me, you're going to protect me, you're going to do all these things that the Bible says that you should do for me. For us to approach men with that attitude, we certainly seem to have lower expectations for ourselves. How do you want such biblical manhood? And see, here's the thing, like, a woman that is in the world will still list all these qualities that they want in a man, but where do they come from? Where did you even grasp the concept that the man was supposed to be your provider? Where did this instinct, this want, this thought that you were entitled, where did this even come from? It came from the Bible. And so if you are judging men based on biblical standards, ma'am, sis cousin, then you yourself should be trying to live by those same standards. I'm gonna clap for myself because that sounded good to me. I mean, same thing in the natural. Same thing in the natural, though, because we'll love to talk about how, oh, a man got to have a car and a man got to have this and a man got to have that. And listen to me. I'm not saying that you shouldn't expect your man to have more than you, but baby, you got to have something. Like you got to, you know what I mean? You got to have something. You catching the bus and you want this man to pull up in a Jag. I mean, you got to, there has to be some kind of balance. It has to be a give and take. We are not, listen, let's be honest. We're not living in the days of young women who have not known a man and are coming straight from their father's house. Okay, where we're holding up the bloody sheet to prove that they were a virgin. You know, that's what they used to do. When you would get married, and you would go into the bedchamber in order to prove your virginity, they would hang the sheet out that you bled on. Okay? We're not living in that day and time anymore. And I get that. And so if you are not, we're not living in that day and time, but there are men who will still carry themselves according to those principles. They will marry you. They will take care of you. They will make sure you never want or need for anything at all. But you want to come and give them sloppy seconds. And here's the thing, because I don't, you know, yes, I knew a man before I was married. You know what I'm saying? I am talking from perfection here. Okay. So let's understand that. Oh my gosh, what was that? I lost my train of thought. Basically, I know what I was about to say. Okay. So here's the other thing, right? You might be like, oh, when I'll change when I meet the right man. We love to say that, right? I'll respect him when he earns it. I'll be feminine when he earns it. I'll change when I meet the right man. And so, but let me tell you that it's not that easy. And it's not that easy because attention is addictive. Attention is addictive. We should know that by the social media age that we live in, okay? Attention is addictive. And if you are used to every day getting attention from various men, you get bored, you pick up your phone and you text somebody. You know what I mean? If that's how you are living, you meeting the right man is not going to change that pattern of behavior in you. I hate to say it, but just think about any past relationships where like the woman knew this man was a cheater. He cheated on her the whole time they were dating. He was sleeping with somebody else the night before their wedding. You know what I'm saying? And then they get married and it continues. And it's like, well, no surprise there. He's always been a cheater. Same thing with us. If you're used to getting attention and you need niggas to constantly be in your face or constantly on your phone, you're not going to change that just because you feel like you found the right one. All you're going to do is now you're going to try to be sneaky and you're going to try to hurt him in the process. He's going to be hurt in that process. And so here's what I want to say. At the end of the day, ma'am, sis, cousin, how you decide to approach the subject with your potential mate is up to you, but I will always suggest to be honest. Don't do this new math where it's like divide by 4, subtract 12, only count the ones you love, whatever. No, be honest. Be honest with the person you say you love. Be honest with the person, that you say you want to spend the rest of your life with. Be honest with that man and tell him the truth. It was one of the hardest things ever. It's one of the hardest things ever to just lay my life out for my husband, because there's some stuff in there that's embarrassing. But I know what I didn't want anybody else telling him. That's what I knew. So that's that on that. Whatever your body count is, just be honest about it, And it's not about her. It's not about Brittany Renner. She's just the face of it right now. So, but yeah, honesty. Honesty is always the best policy. Okay, let's get into our main topic, y'all. Like, share, subscribe. Turn on your notifications so you know when we go live here at the House of Mono. Thank you if you have supported the ministry in the past. We totally appreciate you. And if you like what we've got going on here, you like something that's said, please head over to the Cash App. $1 or $2 will do. $, the House of Mono. Shout out to everybody, wherever you're joining me from. Okay, so our main topic. Are you an Eve or are you an Esther? And so we all know the story of Eve. Okay, we all know Eve led us all into sin. She's to blame for everything that is wrong with all of us. Okay, and let me say this before we get into it. I really want us to be honest in this time. I want us to, you don't have to be honest with me or anybody else. Be honest with yourself, okay? Because as a woman who is trying to live by the Bible, it gets so hard to hear how men think of us, right? And as much as you want to be like, well, no, all of us aren't like that. We all don't do that. Unfortunately, the overwhelming evidence proves that we are like that and we do these things. Okay? And so I need us to get real with ourselves and about the stuff that matters. I'm not here talking about how long your fringes are, how much makeup you put on. That's not what we're talking about here, okay? I'm not saying that your appearance doesn't matter. I'm talking about having a righteous appearance with nothing to back it up. That's the problem, okay? And so even when we start looking at Eve here, all right? First of all, she shouldn't have been talking to the serpent in the first place. Okay. But let's give Eve the benefit of the doubt and say she couldn't tell this was a bad guy up front, because sometimes you can't. They're so charming, they're so pleasant. Sometimes you can't tell it's a bad guy up front. Okay, cool. But the second that he started trying to twist what God had told her, because what did he say? God said you couldn't eat of the fruit, right? And she was like, yeah, we can have the fruit, we just can't have that one. And he was like, well, why you can't have that one? And she's like, oh, because we'll die. He's like, but would you really die? I mean, come on, like he gonna strike you dead right here. Are you really gonna die? Did you die? You know what I'm saying? So at this moment, this is the exact second when the conversation should have been over. We're walking away. We have nothing else to talk about. Can we admit that, sisters and cousins? Please, can we at least admit that? Because I talk to my kids about this all the time. It's the split second decisions that get you in trouble. I was telling my daughter a story, and I hate to tell this story. Every time I tell this story, I get chills, but it happened, okay? In my previous life, I was downtown Atlanta, and this is early 2000s when downtown was still popping from like Friday afternoon to Sunday morning, okay? So we're out in the street or whatever. Long story short, I end up getting in a fight with a girl. She's still sitting in her car. I jumped out the car I was in, started fighting the girl. She's still sitting in the car. She reached down. You know how you reach down like under your seat or whatever. I didn't know what she was reaching to get, but I knew that there was a weapon of protection in the car that I was in, okay? So I see this girl, and I'm not a gangster. Y'all, I am no gangster. I'm not, okay? My husband tell y'all, listen, I went to jail for a suspended license and I was done, okay? Crying, slobbing on the phone, calling my mama, like it was horrible. Nothing gangster about me at all. I ain't never been in a drive-by. I've never been in a shooting. Like I've never had to run in a shooting. Never, okay? So let's be clear about that. I was totally out of my element. But I'm thinking, okay, she's going to pull out a gun. I go pull out the gun that was in our car, but when I had it and looked at her, she had only grabbed her shoe. Okay, but so what if I hadn't stopped and looked and pulled the trigger? Where would my life be? Would I be here? Or would I be serving a life sentence somewhere? Okay, and just to finish the story for y'all, yeah, I pulled out the gun, but the person I was with kind of like threw me back in the car. So we got in the car, backed out, and thank God was able to get away. Okay. But that split second of me looking, okay, but let's go back further than that. Because that split second of me hopping out the car, I ain't got no business hopping out no car. What am I doing? And even further than that, I had no business with the person that I was with doing the things that I was doing, living the life that I was living, because even before then, I knew better. I knew I was in the wrong, okay? And so I'm telling you this to explain how quickly a decision can affect the rest of your life. And even in the case of Eve, humanity. Okay. But so let's bring it to you. These choices can affect your family. Especially those of you all that have children. You go to jail, what's going to happen to your kids? You end up dead, what's going to happen to your kids? You end up sick in the hospital with some STD you can't get rid of. What's going to happen to your kids? Yeah, exactly, Yanika. I'd have been locked up and thrown away the key, because who knows what would have happened. And so that second that you realize that this man is not talking Bible, that second that his interpretation of the gospel is not sitting right with your spirit, is the second that you need to decide that you don't need to have anything else to do with this man. Brianna, shalom and shalom, sis. Thank you for joining me. In that second, you need to make that decision, because it can be detrimental to your life. Okay, and then after, you know what I'm saying? And then after being led down the path of destruction, what does she do? She goes and takes it to her man. And this is the part we don't like to talk about. How am I bringing death and destruction to my man? How am I? One of the ways you do it is when you're constantly comparing him to other people. Constantly wondering why he can't provide like this one, why y'all not balling like that one, why y'all can't go on vacation here and there and do what everybody else is doing. Because let me tell you something, if that man loves you, he wants you to be happy. Every man doesn't have the fortitude to look you in your face and say no. Okay? Every man does not have the security. And I'm going to tell you something. You don't provide your man with that security to tell you no. You don't make your man feel safe enough to say, hey, babe, I really think we need to be saving for this. Can you wait for that? Or, okay, why don't we do this instead so we can save money. You don't make your man feel safe enough to say that to you, because as soon as he tells you no about something, all of a sudden he all kind of punk at, broke at, everything else but a man of God. This is how you bring death and destruction to your man. Because now what position is he in? And yes, I get it. The man's supposed to be the head and da-da-da-da-da, but we're not talking about that right now. We're dealing with you, sis. Because if it's not your man, you'll do it to your son. If you don't do it to your son, you'll do it to your brother. You'll do it to your nephew. You are just bent on destroying the men around you. And if you would take a second and just look at your track record and see what has happened to the men that have dealt with you, what position are they in now? Is anyone else better because you were in their life? Yeah, Maya, why don't you buy me gifts and make me feel special? Why don't we go on dates or spend real time? Okay, well, the spend time thing. I need attention. But even that, the needing of gifts to feel special. And hear me, okay? Because gifts are a love language of mine. It's one of my very strong love languages, okay? But I am not unreasonable to the reality of our life, to the vision that my husband has set forth for our family. So guess what? Sometimes a gift is a sub sandwich. Sometimes a gift is wings, okay? Sometimes a gift is a new car. Sometimes a gift is a piece of jewelry. Sometimes it just depends on what the budget is doing at the time. Okay? So just it's the demanding of this ridiculousness. And here's another thing y'all gotta stop doing. Stop looking at these financial gurus and even it's a lot of people on Facebook that's posting these great financial advances that they are making and property that they are buying and whatever, and they won't tell you where they got the money from in the first place. And you, ma'am, sis, cousin, are steady looking at this man who you don't know what he doing. You don't know where it started. You don't know what he's doing right now. You don't know what happens as soon as that camera goes off. He could be pimping hoes and selling crack. You have no freaking idea. But instead of you learning to be content with what the Most High has blessed you with and just being determined to work toward a better future, you'll bash your man because he's not pimping hoes and selling crack. That's what you want him to be out there doing? I get that. Listen, again, I get it. I like bling, okay? But guess what? I bought these earrings for like $10. And again, this is a lesson I had to learn in my marriage, because before I was married, my attitude was if I have enough money in my pocket to buy it right now, then I can afford it. If it was my last $100, it could be my last $100, but if I want that bag, I want them shoes, I want to go out, I'm going. And that $100 just gonna be gone, and I'll worry about whatever comes the rest of the week. That used to be my attitude. Okay, but I can say a couple of ex-boyfriends do better because I was in their corner. No pride intended. No, I don't think that's a prideful thing. I think that's just facts. Like, that's just a thing. Like, you should be able to look back and see, okay, yeah, I did this for this person. This person is better off here because of me. But also, who's helping you be better? You know what I'm saying? A little sidebar. Let's make sure that the people that we're improving are also improving us. Perpetrating and lying and scamming. Hello? Y'all looking at a lot of PPP loan scams. I'm just saying, selling drugs and pimping. The females pimping themselves and doing the most too. That part as well. Okay, so we don't, and here's the thing, right? The women that have a problem with submission are the same women that they either don't fully admit or don't fully know, haven't fully grasped the concept of the fact that we, and as women, we got power over these men. When he loves you, let me say that. When he loves you or when he lusts you. Okay? Because come on now. We know you wear the right set of shorts and the right shirt out somewhere, everything is free that day. At least that's in my past life. So we can't, let's stop acting like, oh, we're just these, we keep acting like we're individual entities with no connection or effect on each other. What do I mean by that? You as a woman, if you leave your house and say go to a mall, there's no way you're going to walk through the mall and nobody's going to see you all day. There's no way you're going to walk around. No, nobody's going to notice you. Nobody's going to look at you. And however you are presenting yourself at the time is going to have whatever effect it is going to have. If you are presenting yourself as barely dressed, then you will get the effect of a barely dressed woman. You understand what I'm saying? So you have an effect on people. You have power over people, even when you don't consciously acknowledge it. All right. So even more so, we need to acknowledge the power and effect that we have over the men in our lives, especially when they love us. Do you not understand that you can literally guide this man's whole destiny? Listen, no matter how wonderful and powerful and smart and intelligent he is, if his wife is not supporting him, if she is not putting her bricks in to build that home, then his potential is going to be capped. If that man, listen, my husband gets up and goes. He go. If he had to worry about his children being mistreated, the house being mistreated, business not being handled, have to worry about where I'm at all the time, who I'm running the street with, what I'm doing, how much work is really going to get done? I tried to manage a nail salon years ago. This was over 5 years ago. And my house fell apart. It fell apart because I wasn't there. Not only did the house fall apart, our business started to suffer because I wasn't there. Even though I wasn't the one hands-on running the business every day, the effect of my absence on my husband compromised everything else. And so I'm like, stop you have to believe the lie that you don't have any power in order to believe the lie that you don't have to submit to your husband. You understand what I'm saying? Because in order for you to accept the fact that you have to submit, then that means that you acknowledge that, yes, I do have some power here in this situation that could be used for good or evil. I'm going to submit my power to my husband's vision in order to push my family into the destiny that the Most High has for us. That's what we should be doing. Okay, hold on. Let me get to some comments. Zariah, who shalom and shalom. Thank you for joining me. Who help us? Who's helping us get better as we help them? That right there is top tier. That is relationship goals. You both should be building each other up. And listen, I'm not saying that every day is going to be peaches and roses and sunshine and every day y'all going to be winning. No, it's going to be some hard days. It's going to be some rough days. It's going to be some days when you feel like maybe your partner is not holding up their end of the bargain. It's going to be some days when they feel like maybe you're not holding up your end. But it's the fact that overall, we are both working toward this. If that makes sense, what I'm saying. Ain't no dude I dealt with helped me more than I helped them. One of my sisters helps me with a lot. And I'm sorry, Yamaya. I'm really sorry to hear that. Like, and that's sad because, even if a relationship doesn't last, you should be able to take something. See, I never could be attracted to a man that couldn't teach me anything. Like, I got to be able to learn something from you. I should be able to take something from this situation that's going to help me later on in life. So, no, if you're not learning anything, then what's the point of being there? I understand. I have sold my 12-inch speakers, got an ex out of jail, and he never paid me back. Girl, you should have went to Judge Judy. Judge Judy or the People's Court or something. But these are the mistakes that we learn from. These are the mistakes that we learn from. Okay. All right, so let's get into Esther because I was kind of getting into that anyway. So let's look at our good sis Esther. Okay. Before we get in that, like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications so you know when we go live here at the House of Manu. All right, Esther. Now, we all know what happened. Vashti was the queen. She decided to show her behind, and the men was like, and look at that. Look at what happened when Vashti decided that she wasn't gonna come when the king called her. What did the other men say? Like, oh no, we got to get rid of her because our women are gonna get out of hand. Okay. But so enters Esther, right? And it was a time of turmoil for the Jews. When wasn't it a time of turmoil for the Jews? But even in this position that she was in, okay, imagine if you get, picked to be, I guess, first lady. That would be the closest thing to like being a king. Okay. So anyway, you're the wife of the head of the government. Okay. A lot of us would let that go to our head and be like, bump the rest of them people. Matter of fact, sidebar. I was watching a documentary on a supermodel named Danielle Luna, right? And everybody was like, oh, she was the first Black supermodel. She was the first Black supermodel, but nobody's ever heard of her. And then when you get into the documentary, you find out that she did not even identify as Black. And so I was like, well, that's why we never heard of her. She didn't want to be Black in the first place. So why label the lady Black if she didn't want to be Black? You know what I'm saying? But so some of us would get like that, right? Like, oh, we're above those Negroes now. I don't have to deal with that. Okay, some of us would get like that. However, she did not, right? She showed her obedience when Mordecai came to her. She called for a fast. It wasn't no back and forth. There was no lamenting. There was no making my choices, stomping, arguing, and tantrums. No, let's figure out how to get this. Okay. And so if you remember, I think it's chapter 5 in Esther. She's called out in the court. They're in the court. Y'all watch Game of Thrones. You know the court is the inside of the castle, the main room of the castle, and or the people who are influential in that. Okay, so she was called out in the court, and the king asked her, "What do you want? Anything up to this kingdom, I'll give you. What do you want?" And instead of her right then saying what she wanted, she had to move with grace, tact, and obedience. And please go back and read this because I want you to see how she addresses the king, okay? Even though in front of all these people, he's basically said, yes, you are the most beautifulest, the most wonderfulest. I want you. Even with that, she did not get beside herself. She stayed in her place. She wasn't up there twirling her neck, talking about, well, nigga, you chose me. And no, she wasn't doing none of that. She still addressed this man as the king that he was. I don't remember her exact words, but oh, king, if it should please you. And you know what I'm saying? She still gave him respect. Okay. And And so she's like, all right, I want you and Haman to come to dinner tomorrow. And okay, we'll go to dinner tomorrow. So that night, though, if you read in chapter 6, that night the king couldn't sleep. So he called for a reader to read to him out of the Chronicles of the King, and in there he finds a story of how Mordecai has saved the king's life. I want to say it was him, but the king. Mordecai has saved the king's life. Okay. Backtrack just in case you don't know. Mordecai is Esther's uncle, who's also a Jew. Okay. So he hears the story of how Mordecai has saved the king's life. So he calls Haman in. And now, so if you had to think of Haman, let's think of Haman as the grand dragon, okay? Because he was the one that was ordering the kidnapping and the execution of the Jews at the time, right? So Haman comes in and Haman's like, oh, I want to honor somebody. What should I do? So, of course, Haman is thinking like, oh, he's talking about me. Oh, it's my time. Oh, I'm finna stunt. You should get a horse. You should get the crown royal. You should adorn him. Like, you should just go all out and parade him around the town, right? Because he's thinking it's about to be him. And the king is like, cool. Go get that for Mordecai. Right? So imagine like the person that hates you. Now Mordecai and Haman got personal beef. Okay. So the person that you beefing with the most, that you hate the most, now you have to go and adorn him royally and carry him through the town. Okay. So after this, Haman gets the call, like, well, he goes home and he's complaining to his wife and stuff, like, can you believe they made me do this for this nigga? That's what he probably called him. Can you believe they made me do this for this nigga? Do they know who I am? Da, 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 da. And so while he doing all this going off, he gets called to the banquet. And now he had bragged like, oh, I'm going to a banquet with the queen, with the king and the queen and da, 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 da. Okay. Wait, this is so funny. Story time for grown-ups. This is how I have to tell myself the story to remember it. Like I break it down while I'm reading it. Okay, so he's like, yeah, I'm going to the dinner with them, blah, 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 blah. So he gets there, right? Now, I need y'all to listen to this part because this is when it's like, what? Okay, so he gets to the banquet, right? And imagine, right? I'm trying to think of some place like really nice to give you a picture. Okay. The Four Seasons, the Ritz-Carlton, the nicest wedding that you could ever think of. Okay. I mean, we're talking about a royal banquet. Y'all seen Game of Thrones. You know how the royal banquets be. Tables all laid out, everything just spectacular, all the food you can think of. So once again, the king says to Esther, like, all right, girl, this is not an exact quote, but all right, girl, listen, you asked for this banquet. Me and Haman are here. You're here. What is it that you want? Up to the kingdom, whatever you want. Tell me what it is that you want. And now, even if you, okay, had the head of government, and I'm talking about real head of government. I'm not talking about the shadow puppet government that we deal with today. Nah, I mean, okay, how about the head of the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, the people who make all the money in the world? You got this man telling you, whatever you want, I'll give it to you. And now, most of us, all right, I want all the money in the world. I want this, this, this. I want that, that, that. Esther went and pleaded for her people. Listen, and she told the king, listen, if y'all was just taking us and enslaving us, I wouldn't be saying anything. But nah, y'all are out here killing us. And this has to stop. Please save my people as only you can. You're the king. So he's like, well, who's doing this to you, boo? Like, what the heck is going on? Who is upsetting my wife like this? Your boy right here. Okay. So imagine Haman's face, right? He just got aired totally out in front of the king. Not only is the woman he loves complaining about you, but he just learned the night before that this woman is related to the man that saved his life, and you are killing these people? Well, lo and behold, Haman had made some gallows to hang Mordecai with in his home. Like, he probably had them all razzle-dazzled up, probably had his name written on it or whatever, like, this is for this man, okay? But what did the king say? Oh, you want to be funny. Okay, well, you take him and you hang him on them same gallows that he meant from my man Mordecai over here. Okay? Hereby saving the Jews from destruction. Okay, so hand clap for our foremother Esther. Hand clap for her. But let's examine this and let's break it down for us in our real life. Okay, let's go through these comments. Hold on, y'all. I'm sorry. I be trying to stay on a train of thought, because if I switch over to another car, sometimes I get lost. Well, not that you put it like that. I was able to get my license after my ex because he let me drive. But as far as where I am now, no ex helped me with that. Okay. Right. No, never forget where you came from. Period. Heck, now that we're learning, right, where we came from. Yeah, I mean, he probably didn't say, "I girl," but this is his second time. Remember, he asked her, and then she's like, "Come to dinner." So he like, "All right, well, I'm at dinner. What do you know?" You know what I'm saying? Right. Hand clap for her. And so now, hold on, I'm sorry. The computer be tripping like. Okay. And so let's break down Esther's patience first of all, okay? This lady had extreme patience because, again, could you imagine being able to ask for anything you wanted and not just asking for it, especially when you know your people are dying? Like, this wasn't a small request. This was a very large request. And so I have to ask you, are you willing to set aside what you want for your family? I mean, really think about it, because the truth of the matter is a lot more of us could be stay-at-home moms and homeschoolers, but we don't want to go without the shopping trips and the name brands and the things that we like to have to make us feel validated. We don't want to go without that. So we won't make the sacrifice. We won't go without. We'll send our children to school, even though we know in school they are teaching them the exact opposite of what we want them to be learning. And whether we want to realize it or not, 8 hours a day, sometimes more than that, because sometimes y'all be leaving these kids at after school programs, or they go to the daycare after school. And listen, I am not knocking any mother for doing what she has to do. But again, this is about us taking a honest look at ourselves. We can't keep talking about how horrible the world is getting, how horrible things are, especially when we're talking about in terms of treatment of us as Black people. We love to say how this government don't care about us. All they do is mistreat us, take advantage of us, da 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 da. But we will not do the things that we can or should be doing to break ourselves from that. What do I mean by that? You won't forego your luxuries. You won't forego your vacations in order that you would raise your children in a way that will please the Most High. We start school with prayer. We have Bible lessons. We study the law. We talk about it with my husband. It's a constant theme in our home. We make it a constant theme in our home because this is how we want our sons to live their life, to base their life. We want them to base their decisions on the law of the Most High. We want to conduct themselves according to the law of the Most High. So this is what we are constantly teaching them. If your child is at school, however, learning everything contrary to that. In Bible study today, my husband brought up how families would start businesses and the sons were just expected to continue the business that the father started. It was just a natural, like, okay, here, this is what I built, you continue it. And it made me think of, he was talking about how we don't, how we've been convinced that that's wrong. And it made me think of when they started showing that on television, when they started showing when they started allowing brown people on television and you saw them turning away from their heritage or their culture, not wanting to be identified as their specific nationality, trying to be more Americanized, right? And so that's when you see this occurring. And I'm trying to bring it all together. I'm sorry, you guys. I be having like so many thoughts pop up at the same time. Okay, so we're not teaching family building anymore. We're teaching individual satisfaction. We're not teaching to put the greater good of the group ahead of you. We are teaching individualism and what you want is all that matters. And it's led only to our destruction. And so instead of having women among us like Esther, who will stand up for what is right, even at whatever cost to themselves, we have women who are saying, bump my children, bump my husband. I'm here for me and it's all about me. I feel like there is a overemphasis on self-care these days. I'm not saying we don't need self-care. Listen, I'm the biggest advocate for self-care. Okay. If I need a day, I will take a day. And I can only do that because of my husband. Let's be clear. I'm not talking junk like, oh, I just run it. No, absolutely not. I have a husband who understands that I'm going through perimenopause right now. Some days just be days. And so, but I feel like it's too much with the self-care. Okay. It's too much with the put me first. We have killed the stereotype of the overworked mom so much that y'all have came up with this phrase, married single mom. That sounds ridiculous. Okay, either you're married or you're not. All right. How you and your husband divide the load has no bearing on your status as a married woman. So I don't like that phrase. It's really a knock to men. It's really more man bashing. It's man bashing by married women. If you think about it, you're basically saying my husband don't do ish around here. Okay. So we have to take ourselves out of the equation. Like Esther did. Like Esther did. I mean, that's a perfect, again, because if you could have anything you wanted, what would you ask for? Right? And I want to point out too, Oh, I know what I meant to go back to. The way she talked to the king. Let's talk about the way we talk to each other. Okay, hold on. Let's go to the comments and then we're gonna get to the respect thing. Yes, but I am not a wife nor any child, but I did and was willing to do that for my family. The movie On Court shows that the guy's father supported him eventually, and dude ended up working with his dad again. I think he sold wine at his father's restaurant. I think I want to see that movie because that sounds. I think I saw that. That sounds familiar. The married single mom. Yes. So married single mom is a thing. Where these married women are basically saying that their husbands do not carry any of the load around the house. So they consider themselves married single moms. And let me just tell you, like, as someone who was a single mom, just the fact that you have another income coming in, honey. Okay. And again, listen, no man is perfect, but ma'am, you picked him. Okay. And again, just the fact that you have another income coming in. Okay. Stop all that, please. I hate that. It's such man bashing, such passive aggressive man bashing, and I don't like it. I don't like it. Okay, so the way Esther spoke to the king every time, very respectful, very humble. And we need to talk about this because I don't think that we realize how much men need our respect. Ephesians 5:23, I think, says, see, wives, see that you reverence your husband. When it talks about husbands loving your wives, right? And sorry, something popped up on the screen. Okay. And we, for some reason, well, we all know the reason. Okay. We've just been taught, we have not been taught how to respect a man. We have been taught that everybody's the same and you can talk to everyone the same and they should just have to, deal with it or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of the reasons that we have problems with men is because we don't know how to talk to them. We don't know how to talk to them. A lot of the reasons why you can't get what you want from the men in your life is because you don't know how to talk to them. You don't know how to treat them. And this is something that I had to learn because in my head, it's like, okay, respect you. I don't curse at you. I do what I'm supposed to do. I go to work. I come home. I'm a good wife. I give you what you want. Like, so in my mind, that was respect enough. And my husband just kept telling me, this is when we first got married, like, no, you're not respecting me. You're not respecting me. And dude, what the heck are you talking about? Like, we had all of our parents had to come and like help us because I did not know. Y'all, I did not know what he was talking about. This is not something that I ever had to deal with. I never had to deal with my mom like doing something that she may not have wanted to do, right? But coming to me as her daughter, like, oh my gosh, this man get on my nerves, but let me go ahead and do this for him. I didn't grow up seeing that enough to get the concept of respecting a man and the things that a man needs to feel respected. It's not just in making his plate, it's the way that you make it, okay? It's the attitude that you're serving him with. If you are begrudgingly making his plate and only putting one spoon of each item on the plate and throwing it at him, nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. That man come home from a hard day of work and you just throw him a hey baby and keep on moving. In your mind, you haven't disrespected him. You acknowledged him when he walked in the door. But this man needs more than a hey baby. Just like you do. You want more than a hey baby. Even when it comes to housework, when it comes to sex, doing those things begrudgingly is not respect. It's just like when you keep the law, you don't do it begrudgingly, you do it with joy. You're happy to do this for this person. And even if you're not a housewife, okay? Because I hear y'all, oh, you're just saying that because you don't have to work. That's easy for you to say because you don't have to work. Why aren't you appreciative of the help that you have? That's something that you need to ask yourself. Why don't I appreciate my man right now? What do I feel like he could be doing? Where is he lacking? What do I feel like he's lacking in? That's what you need to talk to yourself about, because it's not about me being a housewife. It's about you not feeling fulfilled enough, you not feeling loved enough to want to reciprocate that back to your man. Okay? And the only way to get through that is honesty and communication. I mean, honestly, that's the only way you're going to get any kind of change on that. And part of that honesty and communication is you listening and hearing what this man is telling you that he needs. My husband hates making his plate. I could have listen, I could have cooked the food and everything, and he doesn't eat with us, like, because he's usually working late. So honestly, in my house, we usually eat dinner about 5-6 o'clock. We're eating dinner. I clean up the kitchen. My lights in my kitchen is off by like 7-8 o'clock. That's it. Don't touch nothing. So my husband is usually still working at this time. So I'll fix his plate and put it in the microwave. But some days, like when we have leftover something, I just forget because I'm not in my normal routine. So I forget. And like I did it just the other day, and I wasn't thinking about it because when I make his plate, he has no reason to complain, right? I forget that this is a thing that he hates because he doesn't have to do it. But so we had leftovers like yesterday and the day before, and he was like, "Why I gotta keep making my plate?" And I'm like, "Oh, my bad. I forgot you hate making your plate." You know what I mean? Like I could have been a modern woman and been like, "Well, I made the food. The least you know what I'm saying? I could have had my stuff to say, but why would I do that?" And here's what I'm saying to y'all about watch who you pick. Make them put the effort in first. Because, ma'am, sis, cousin, as soon as you say I do, it is not about you anymore. That's what we seem to forget. Like we fall for these BS IG relationships and these movie marriages that we don't understand in real life what we're taking on as women when we get married. The domestic work of a woman just recently started to be something to be embarrassed about. There was a time when a woman working was embarrassing and unthought of. I was watching the Gilded Age, and Denise, her father died. She came to live with her aunt, and she's like, "Well, I can get a job." She said, "Not while you're living in this house, you won't." There was a time when a woman at a job meant that something was wrong, like you're destitutely poor. It was a privilege to have your wife at home. It was a privilege to be a wife at home, taking care of your husband and your family. This is just what you do. And I can't for the life of me, if you think about the life of a housewife, even back in the 50s and 60s, okay, the man gets up and go to work. You get up and make breakfast, send the kids off to school, clean up a little bit, go do your shopping. You got time to come home and take a nap, watch TV, get dinner started. The kids come home, you help them with their homework, you greet them. Who told us to turn this in? Who convinced us that this was oppression? Because I don't feel oppressed at all when I take my afternoon nap. I don't. When I have my iPad on in the kitchen while I'm cleaning up behind my family, I don't feel oppressed at all. It feels great. I don't know who convinced us that there was something wrong with being the domestic half of a partnership. One thing that I have learned about being in a position of submission, if you are submitting to the right man, it puts him in a position of power. Not to be abused. Let's be clear, not to be abused. But imagine how you feel with your kids, right? I know how I feel with my kids. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we go boxing. They go to a boxing class. I love it. Okay. On Fridays, they like to go swimming. And so I don't mind going swimming every once in a while. But y'all know how the hair be and the chlorine and everything else. So sometimes I'm like, I don't really want to do this. But when I know that I have the power to make my children happy, and when I think about the fact that these are the stories that they're going to tell when they grow up about how we went swimming on Fridays with mommy, it makes me want to do it. It's like, okay, you know what? Bump this hair. Like, we'll just do an extra deep conditioner and we'll be fine. But I'm going to take my baby swimming. You know how you feel as a mother when you're able to provide for something for your kids. Do you not think that your man gets that same joy out of providing for you when you are being cooperative? Because we're not going swimming if y'all acting up now. If y'all acting up in school, ain't no swimming. But you're doing good. Let's go. This is going to be fun. Why you think your man don't see? We don't like to, because we hate to put ourselves in a place of a child. We hate to imagine ourselves being subject to anyone else. So we don't like to use these analogies. But the fact of the matter is that's the exact relationship that's supposed to be being emulated here. God, the Father of Christ, Christ, the head of man, the head of the woman the head of the children. These relationships are supposed to emulate each other in terms of respect, submission, and reverence and love. And so let's talk about it. I don't know how I got on this, but we're here. So we're gonna let's hold on. Let's read the comments, and then I want to talk about love because we need to understand what that is. Okay, hold on. Where we go? Okay. And ungratefulness is a horrible rock to have. You're never satisfying yourself. Is horrible. I hate to live with a person like that. I would be in there sewing paintings too. Sewing paintings. You sew or you paint? Because I sew, and I want to paint, but my Nana has talked about how she didn't have to work, and the other wives she worked with said they needed money. So your Nana was in there like, Chris, mama, I don't need this job. My man got 2 jobs. Okay. That's dope. Let's see. All right. God, that's a beautiful feeling. Seeing the children happy and enjoying themselves while spending time with you is a warm, fuzzy feeling that you never want to go away. It absolutely is. Absolutely is. Okay, you sew and paint. Okay, cool. Okay, it absolutely is. And so let's talk about this love, okay? Because we talked about the respect. Let's talk about the love because we don't get talked to enough. We're not told the truth about love enough. And the first thing that we all need to know about love is an action word. Love is an action word. If you go to Corinthians where it lists all the attributes of love, it gives you all of these verbs. Love is kind. Love is patient. Love does not boast. It's telling you all the things that love does and does not do. But also, when you are talking about a romantic love, Okay. When Isaac, when Rebecca came to Isaac, when they went and got Rebecca and they brought her to Isaac, he had some place for her to go. He wasn't just looking at her like, okay, girl, what we gonna do? He had some place for her to go. Why do y'all think that a man can love you and not feel any obligation to provide for you in any way? I mean, Jacob worked 14 years for Rachel. 14. Remember, he worked the first 7 and got tricked and then had to work another 7. So why do you think that men have changed so much, love has changed so much, that now a man can just come to you with his third leg in his hand telling you he love you and that's supposed to be good enough for you? See, and then I'm be honest with y'all burden y'allselves because y'all just be so happy to have a man and I just want to do things right and I just want to be I just want to be a good wife and whatever biblical wife phrase you have picked. I just want to be a Proverbs 31 and the Bible say he that find a wife, so I gotta be a wife already. Whatever kind of crap you want to make up in your head to accept the less that this man has the audacity to offer you, you need to get up off it. Okay. And again, I understand loneliness. I'm not saying it's not a thing. I'm never going to sit here and lie to you and say, oh, you can be alone but not feel lonely. That is a lie. It's just like saying you can need food but not feel hungry. If I need food, I'm hungry. If I'm alone, I'm lonely. Okay? So I'm not saying that, but y'all got to start looking at the big picture. But also, let's keep it funky. If a lot of us would have done the things that we were supposed to do in our lives, we would probably be in good, stable marriages right now. Just think about it. If you'd have came out of high school and started your career or whatever direction you were going in, trade school, entrepreneurship, and went along the path of success, went toward the path put ourselves on the path of righteousness even at a young age, a lot of us wouldn't be caught up in these situations that we're in right now. Oh, okay, thank you. A lot of us wouldn't be in these situations we are in right now. And so what we don't like to acknowledge is sometimes we're 30, we still ain't got a man. 31, still ain't got a man. 35, still ain't got a man. 38, still ain't got a man. Lord, why? Are you being honest with yourself? Where you are right now? We are in a generation of do, go, go, go. Sometimes we don't ever stop and think about the things that maybe we need to undo. Maybe we need to unlearn. Maybe we need to spend some time alone. Getting to know yourself is not just about filling out a journal that they're selling on TikTok. It's about spending time with yourself, knowing what you like and what you don't like, spending time with the most. Listen, there's no other way to get any benefit out of spending time alone if you're not spending that time with the Most High, meditating on his word and letting that edify you. Otherwise, you're just sitting around wasting time. And I said it before and I'm going to say it again. If your attitude has not fully changed before you get married, after you get married, it's going to be too late. If you don't walk in with a willing heart, with a wanting heart, wanting to be a good wife, willing to conform and compromise, then I'm sorry to say, thinking that getting married is going to change anything in you or in him is a recipe for disaster. You standing in front of a judge and saying, yes, I will, yes, I do, it don't mean nothing. I mean, think about how many times you used to lie to your parents and teachers and principals and everything else. Yeah, I'm gonna take out the garbage and you didn't do it. Yes, I turned in my homework. Did you do it? No. And I'm saying this to prove that we have no problem lying to authority figures. So you standing in front of a judge talking about, yes, I do, I'll love him forever. That ain't gonna do nothing. All right, let's get to the comments. Sorry. Car, my nana was definitely saying this. I don't need this. My man has 2 jobs, right? Yes. Okay, go nana. That's what I'm talking about. Like, I might be here, but I ain't gotta be here. Yes, the third leg. That's what my mama used to always say. Just come in the room with you in your hand and nothing else. Yes. The third leg in hand. That's all he got to offer you. Okay. Can't even get you dinner. Won't even feed you. Up. Yep. If I had did what I'm doing now, I would have been married at 25. I know. Trust me, I know. I think about that all the time. Like, if me and this man would have just got right when we was young, we were sitting right there next to each other the whole time, crying and asking the Most High to reveal what you need to change. Period. The only way. The only way. Telling the Most High what you know you need to change and that you need help. And I keep telling y'all that is the only way that you're going to see any kind of improvement, any kind of changes or anything else. All right. So, okay, sorry. So in our even Esther comparison, I want us to be, because we are getting at a crucial time. Okay. The government, the banks, this nation, this empire that we have lived in all this time, like everything is just really starting to decline. And I beg you to examine yourself. And I'm not trying to raise any fear mongering and telling you, oh, go get a man because the world is ending and you're gonna need a man. But I'm telling you right now, I'm not catching no deer. I'm not hunting no deer. I don't like to fish. I'll plant some vegetables and feed some chickens. But I'm not killing nothing. I'm not skinning nothing. I'm not processing nothing. I'm not doing all that. I don't want to. And so, and see, here's another thing that we just get caught up in because we're not taught the truth that, oh, love is about marriage. And marriage is about love and everything just has to be so perfect and it's going to be a fairy tale and we're going to ride off in the sunset and live happily ever after. But the fact of the matter is, marriage is about getting up every day and choosing each other every day and choosing your family every day. Some days those choices are easy. Some days those choices are hard. But it's about every day, even beyond your family. Cause like my husband was having a conversation with me because I recently started working out, losing a little bit of weight. Okay. And he was like, I hope you don't feel the need to seek other attention now. And my first answer was, well, as long as you give me attention, I'm good. I'm not thinking about nobody else. You know what I'm saying? We're fine right here. But he was like, well, that's not really a very comforting answer. Cause I get it, like, oh, so the first day I'm not giving you attention, you out here looking for it for somebody else. So I get it. But when I rephrased my answer, I fear the Most High more than anything. That is what is going to stop me from acting up. I fear the Most High more than anything, first of all. And second of all, I already made those mistakes. Okay. Attention is a hell of a drug. Y'all need to hear what I'm saying. And some of y'all need to think about whether or not you're addicted to attention. Okay? Especially in this day and age of social media where it is so easy to just post a picture and get the likes and get the comments and whatever. Y'all need to really think about this. I'm gonna tell y'all something. I'm not a modesty basher. Like, I'm not out here beating sisters over the head about their wigs and their weaves, and I'm not doing all that. But why, ma'am, sis cousin, are you taking full body pictures? And see, for some of y'all, modest just mean long. Y'all feel like it could be skin tight painted on you, but as long as the fringes are past your knees, that's modest. In the meantime, you got twins hanging out the front and the back of that dress. So, what are you really doing? What are you doing? Like, are you trying to get a man, or are you trying to get a one night stand? Now I want y'all to think about this. If you saying I'm content being Eve, I'm content showing my body, knowing what it's doing. Okay, and then y'all got worldly men commenting on the pictures. Like, what are you doing? Get your life together. Stop needing the validation of others around you. You're not going to be able to have a successful marriage until the only validation you need is yourself. Once you learn how to, because listen to me, especially for those of us with colorful past, you might feel like, oh, once I get married, everybody should be happy for me because I'm doing it right. I'm trying to live by the Bible, and this is a come up for me and my kids, and everybody's going to be happy. And I'm here to tell you that they're not. They're not going to be happy for you. Some people can only deal with you in a downtrodden or depressed state. They can only deal with you while you're the needy single mother. They can only deal with you while they can give you food and give you clothes for your kids. They can only deal with you when they feel like they are above you. But as soon as you don't need them anymore, they don't know how to deal with you. It's out of control for them. They can't figure it out. And so the very people who you may feel like should be in your corner cheering, like, oh my God, I'm so happy for you. I'm so proud of you. You're finally, getting your life together. I'm here to tell you that those are probably going to be the last people that are going to validate your marriage, that are going to validate your husband and his decisions. Like, so you have to be cool within yourself. And it's only a struggle for us, again, because we don't grow up seeing this. If you grew up with a father in the home and you were used to seeing how your mother deals with him, then it wouldn't be a struggle for you. You would already know that this is right. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. But because your mother, for whatever reason, your mother and your father wasn't together, so you didn't get this lesson. And when growing up with a single mom, what's the number one lesson? You are taught how not to need a man. That is the number one lesson a single mother teaches her daughters. How not to need a man, how not to want a man. Let's keep it real. How not to want a man, how to just totally isolate yourself and try to be an island in and of yourself. That is what you learn when you are raised by a single mother. And so when you're trying to get married, The only example you have is this woman who was telling you all your life that you don't need a man. And I get it, okay? I get it. I grew up with that. You don't need a man. You don't need a man. I do. Okay. And I know everybody like to be like, oh, you know, you don't need a man. A man isn't essential and da 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 da. Listen, like Paul said, some of y'all have that gift of being able to stay single, and some of us don't. And I'm one of them ones that like I and be honest with yourself. Like, stop letting people talk you out of what you want. They don't know why you want what you want. I mean, I'm not talking about nothing unbiblical, but in terms of wanting marriage, stop letting people talk you out of that. Stop letting them make you feel like you're weak because you want a man. It's crazy. That makes absolutely no sense to me. Okay, hold on. Comments. Let's go to the comments. She said, I want to be taught by a man. I know that's right. I hate, oh my gosh. There have been situations like that where like I do not remember what happened, but inevitably you do this in a group, here comes some woman. I can help you. I can do that. Girl, I ain't asked you. I asked the man to help me losing weight. Okay. Yes, I am a little bit. Trying to stay 43 fine. I'm about to be 43. So, you know, trying to stay 43 fine. Our obedience shows our love. Absolutely. If you love me, you will keep my commandments. Absolutely. Attention seeking is definitely a behavior I would love to unlearn. So I'm gonna tell you how I unlearned to teach attention seeking, because I kept getting in trying that every time I chose a person out of loneliness, or every time I chose a person because I wanted some attention, it's always been a horrible situation, something that I regretted. Well, honestly, I've regretted every relationship before my marriage. So I guess it's been the worst of the one I regret. It's been horrible. Loosen up the dress, skirt, and shirt. Don't nothing need to be hanging out. So now let me I agree. Okay. And so, but I understand our sisters got some parts. Okay. Listen. However, what's the matter? Oh, yes, it does. Looks quite hazy in here. That's incense, y'all. That's just some incense.
Tell everybody to shop with that house girl.
Oh, that's right. Yes, I forgot to tell you. What is the name of their thing on Facebook? I have to I'll post it. But yes, so we do have an Israelite frankincense provider. He has the rocks and the incense sticks, and I'm telling you, this stuff smells so good. So that's what you see blowing right now, because my husband's out there printing some shirts and spraying chemicals and stuff. So you see how nice he is saying, let the incense, so I wouldn't be in here choking. That's probably another reason why I don't have any friends, girl. Don't feel bad about not having any friends. I don't either. My husband is my best friend, and I'm cool with that. Okay, IDK, some two-parent households are dysfunctional. So I'm not talking about in extreme cases, okay? And I'll be wanting to say this every time. I'm not talking about in extreme cases. I'm talking from a point of perfection, okay? From a point of perfection and the Most High's original intent for us. A two-parent household is what was intended for us to see these things, so then we could go out and repeat these patterns, you know? Marriage is biblical. Absolutely. That's where it comes from. You have no other source for the concept of marriage but the Bible. So, yeah, so like just I really need y'all to keep it real with yourselves. Okay? Keep it real with yourself. Are you cool with your phone being dry? If your phone don't go off all day, are you okay with that? I mean, from a dude. Think about it. Because, you talking about you want a man who gonna love you, and your phone can't be going off all day. He ain't gonna tolerate that. Who that? Listen, somebody text me or somebody text my husband. Who texting us? Who's texting us? And ladies, when you with the man that loves you, you're not gonna have to chase him down like that. You're not gonna have to chase him down like that. He's not going to purposely hurt you. Listen, I say it all the time. Is he gonna be perfect? No. They're not gonna be perfect. Just like we're not perfect. But does he love you? Does he show you that he loves you? And if he shows you that he loves you, then you should also understand that if you present this man with a legitimate problem, then he's going to work with you. Cooperation is not just one way in a marriage, but it has to start with the woman. Let me think of a good example. Because what I'm trying to say is like, you can't even hold on. You're not even supposed to expect submission from a man. You're not supposed to. It is your job to submit to him first. And then the submission comes from him. Yes, the Bible tells us to submit one to another, okay? But in order for him to submit to you, you have to submit and make him feel, thank you, and make him feel safe and comfortable in that submission. You can't expect a man to submit to you, and now he has to worry about you out here disrespecting him, people blowing him up in battle rap, everybody talking about him on the news or in the gossip columns or whatever about how you done took advantage of him. And y'all, we can't have it both ways. Okay. I just want that one special one. Oh, I'm praying for you, sis. I really am. My phone been dry for over a year when it comes to dudes. I don't even play those type of games. Scared the most, I will fill my muffin cat. Yo, muffin cat black blue. No, I get it. Listen, if you know they're not marryable or you're not gonna marry this person, then no reason for a relationship at all. No reason to be involved if that's not the one for you. Excuse me, y'all. If that's not the one for you, okay? Sorry, it's going all up my nose. So look, just take some time to think about it. Read the story of Eve and the story of Esther. But most importantly, like really go over Esther. It's a short chapter. It's a short book, only a few chapters. But it's a very valuable story, especially for us as women. And I know nobody likes to say that we're supposed to stay in our place, but that's when you see the Most High move on your behalf when you are in your place. Could you imagine if the king had asked Esther that first day, what do you want? Whatever it is, up to the entire kingdom, I'll give it to you. What is it that you want? And if she would have just started babbling at that point, before the king had saw the importance of Mordecai, before the king had totally understood Haman's behavior and attitude, because if it wouldn't have been for the insomnia, right, the night that he couldn't sleep, that caused him to ask for the chronicles to be read, then he would have never known that Mordecai, a Jew, had saved his life. So what would have happened if Esther would have just blurted it out that first day? Like, oh, your man over here is trying to kill me and my uncle, and all our people kill him. He'd have probably, because Haman was his right-hand man at the time. So he would have probably looked at Esther like she was crazy and killed her. And the persecution of the Jews continues. This is what you have to, listen, you just have to accept the fact that men and women are totally different. Okay? I can go and ask my husband for the exact same thing, and based on the way I talk, I'm getting two different responses. If I go to him and I want to eat out tonight, take me out to eat tonight. Or I've been cooking in this house all week. I'm tired. I want to go out. I'm not cooking. Take me out to eat. Might he take me out to eat? He might. Definitely going to be begrudgingly. It's probably going to be something cheap and nasty. But if I go to him and I rub his shoulders and I rub his bald head and I start telling him how much I love him and how I'm so appreciative of the life that he provides for us and how he's such a good provider. I wish I could see what he's doing over here for real. And how he's such a good provider and such a good man. And I know he works so very hard, but can we please possibly just go out to eat tonight so I can just enjoy looking at you and I don't have to worry about, cooking and stuff like that. I'm very much more likely not just to go out, but to go out and get what I want. Think about yourself. If your kid just comes up to you, Mom, let me get some candy. Mom, let me get some Takis. No, boy, get out my face. But like my sons, if they go outside and pick you flowers and then come and look at you and hold your hand and be like, Mommy, you're so beautiful. Can we please go get some Takis? How can you say no? But again, we don't like to put ourselves in a child's position, so we won't use this as an example, but it's very much the same principle being applied here. Very much the same principle. What you say? Yes, listen, my sons are very charming. They get that from their father. They know what to do and what do they come in there early in the morning. I'm still laying down. They come and give me hugs. Mommy, I love you. And they give me kisses and then they might leave. And then 30 minutes later, Mommy, you cooking breakfast? I want pancakes and grits and eggs and sausage. And how can I say no? Sis gonna use that sexy voice every time. Not just the sexy voice, but the sexy actions. Y'all married? Well, I hope y'all married women know what I'm talking about. And you single women, let me explain something to you, okay? All the sex that you think that you're not having, you will definitely make up for it when you get married. So don't you even worry about that part. Don't you even worry about it, okay? All that's going to be taken care of. So don't worry about that. But we have to apply these principles to every area of our life, okay? Some of y'all get out here and just to simplify it, you get pulled over by the police, and instead of you, yes sir, no sir, I didn't know I was speeding, sir, I'm so sorry, sir, and possibly getting out of a ticket, you snapping on the policeman. And see, this is the thing. A man can't do that. Not as readily. A man can't just be polite to a police officer and, okay, you're fine. A woman is more likely to have that effect. But you've been so convinced that being feminine is wrong that you'll take that $150, however much ticket, instead of you just smiling and being polite. Sometimes you gotta play the damsel in distress, but y'all be so worried about men seeing you as their equal that you won't take advantage of the tools that the Most High has provided you. I've gotten out of plenty of tickets in my day. But y'all won't do that. Y'all want to sit up here and argue with the man. There's no reason for you to feel like you are a man, can be a man, can compete with a man. I'm telling you, even as a single woman, it is to your detriment. Even just day to day going by doing stuff, you get a lot more done and a lot more help if you would employ your feminine attributes. Smile more. Say please and thank you. That man holds the door open for you. Thank you, sir. And keep on walking. Okay. Oh, look, my time wrapping up. 5 years without, I can't wait. Oh, hold on. You go. I know your husband is going to be very happy when he gets his hands on you. My attitude just have to match my voice. Soft and feminine. Heather, light as a feather. That is, I've never forgotten that when I saw that on that matchmaking show. Heather, light as a feather. There's no reason for us to walk around feeling the angry black woman stereotype. Okay, you can be just as pleasant and just as happy, and just as joyful and a pleasure to be around as everything else. As everyone else. Excuse me. Shalom, Atticus. Say shalom and shalom to everyone. Shalom and shalom. Are we doing Sabbath Night Live tomorrow, honey? Honey? Sure? Okay. Well, Atticus is here, so you know that means it's time to wrap it up. I just confirmed with my husband we will be here for Sabbath Night Live tomorrow. Did I tell you to turn that down? See how you come down here messing with stuff? I'm a little over 2 3/4 years in. Praise the Lord for y'all. I pray that y'all keep up with that. Listen, if you like something I said or you like what we got going on here at the House of Mono, $1 or $2 will do. Cash App the House of Mono. If you would like to stop me from popping Atticus' fingers, which I'm about to do. Yes, you're gonna make me pop you. Anyway. All right. Stop. Yes, we'll be back tomorrow, 8 o'clock for Sabbath Night Live. Don't forget to follow me at Miss Mono's World on all of your socials to keep up with all of our content. IG, Facebook, TikTok. Also, my husband at Monologue McGad. I always forget to tell y'all about the dogs. I'm sorry about that. At Mono's Westside Bullies. Just a few of the things we got going on here at the House of Mono. Thank you for joining me tonight. I hope something I said was helpful, whether you're listening live or on the replay. If you have any topics you want me to discuss, feel free to send me a DM. You drunk on my tea. He drunk all my tea. See, he does this kind of stuff. But then he comes and he gives me this smile and I can't be mad at him. Okay, I love you guys. Shalom and shalom. Good night. You're not gonna say good night to the people? Goodbye.
Even if you the slow start screwed up. Used to gang bang, now homie brewed up. Had a little plan, I had them blew up. Look at you like a man right now. Dressed to the T, spending like $1,000 right now. And you ain't got nothing from a handout.
Okay, y'all. It's time for him to go to bed.
One time.